All right, good evening and welcome, everybody. Let's please stand for the pledge. Well, I'm glad you all made your New Year's resolution to attend more city council meetings. I want to thank you. Appreciate seeing you there. Okay, we got to do some swearing in, huh, Shar? Come on down, Jackson.
You're first, she said.
Oh, that's right.
I'm going to have you stand over here by the microphone. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and your name,
I, Dave Nevin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution
to support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and to discharge faithfully
and to discharge faithfully
the duties of the office of mayor
the duties of the office of mayor
of the city of Cross Lake, Minnesota,
of the city of Cross Lake, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment
to the best of my judgment
and ability, so help me God.
and ability, so help me God.
You're approved. I need you to sign this, Dave.
Sandy, go ahead. Yeah, you go first. Yeah.
This here? Yep, he's this way. Feels okay. So, raise your right hand. I, in your name,
I, Sandy Farter,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will discharge faithfully
and that I will discharge faithfully
the duties of the office of council member
the duties of the office of council member
in the city of Cross Lake, Minnesota,
in the city of Cross Lake, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right.
Okay, you're a kid.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Really?
I'm gonna have to do a video of you, Jackson.
Did you have to lower that?
I had to lower it because it was stuck on the whatever, on the console.
I, in your name,
I, Jackson Purfirst,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the
That-
United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will discharge faithfully
and that I will discharge faithfully
the duties of the office of council member
the duties of the office of council member
in the city of Cross Lake, Minnesota,
in the city of Cross Lake, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you, Shar.
Let's see, Jackson. Congratulations, you two, and welcome. You too. Okay, first we have approval of the additions to the agenda. I guess I got to list them here. We got a labor attorney, Johnson, Killian, and Seller, no rate increase. That's an addition. A memo dated January 9th from Mayor Nevin, a commission appointments. Memo dated January 9th from Mayor Nevin, Commission Liaison Appointments. Ooh, thanks for the reminder. We have got some additional bills for approval. Everybody got their phones off? All right, is that it? That's it. Do we have a motion to approve or any questions?
I'll move to approve the additions to the agenda as read.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor. Next, we have public forum. Action may or may not be taken on any issue raised. If council requires more information or time for consideration, the issue will be placed on the agenda of the next regular council meeting. Speaker must state their name and address. Anybody have anything? Public forum? Come on up. Name and address, please.
Warren Stock, 13421 Island View Lane, Cross Lake. Okay, I wanted to thank the mayor and the council for their time and their service given to the community. I appreciate it, the time that was spent with the staff and the mayor just today explaining my concerns at the last city council meeting. However, I still have one concern on the city's practice for bonding capital and infrastructural improvements remains the same. I was told today that at present, the city has over $9 million in bonds. While I believe I understand the city's perspective, and respectfully, I am here tonight to request the city's council add to its agenda in the first quarter of 2023 an adoption of a pay-as-you-go policy for funding future projects. A pay-as-you-go approach requires the city to save and to pay the capital for capital improvements for construction and infrastructural projects for which it is not specifically appropriation from any other agency like county or state. The intentions behind pay-as-you-go is to encourage responsible, transparent spending by our government. Projects have more time to develop and are well vetted and reviewed. I believe a pay-as-you-go approach will accomplish the following for the city of Cross Lake. In the event of instability in our tax base, it protects the city services and operations from budget cuts. Future budgets will always have the bond payments on the first line of any budget. Therefore, it requires, if cuts are required, it will require more cuts for services in other services that we need. Reducing the bond obligation, I'm not a good public speaker, okay?
You do good.
Okay. Reducing the bond obligations provides stability in the annual tax levy. Planning and prioritization of the capital improvements and projects protects and will serve as a form of checks and balances on our local decisions and provide transparency to spending to our residents. We live in an ever-changing world, and Cross Lake is not an island. To continue to take on debt for non-emergency expenditures is asking for trouble sooner or later down the road. Thank you again for this time. I look forward to any discussions. Thank you all again for all the time and efforts you put into this.
Warren, and thank you for coming up, and we will certainly consider it. I don't know that I would look for immediate results on there, but
Okay.
hopefully we will be careful what we do up here with your money.
Yeah. And I believe there's a happy medium.
Right.
I would just wanted to bring up that it is getting to be a lot.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Not seeing anybody moving, we'll close public forum. Next, we've got the organizational meeting appointments. First, it's designating acting mayor, and I would like to nominate or put Marcia Siebert-Vols as acting mayor. We need a council, or we need action and a motion on that.
I'll move to approve that.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, carries. Next, appointment of two ex officios of the Fire Relief Association, and they are the mayor and the city administrator. We need action and motion on that.
I'll make a motion to approve that appointment, the mayor and the city administrator to the Fire Relief Association.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, all in favor. Approved schedule of the regular council meeting, second Monday of the month at 7 PM.
So move.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appointment of the official newspaper. Letter from the Echo Publishing and a letter from Northland Press. They both have been historically our newspapers. Does anybody have any comments on that?
I move we continue with both of them and accept the rates that they have submitted.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Appointment of legal services. Civil, there is a rate increase, but actually, I don't know. I'm going to muddy the waters a little bit because I'm going to ask for an RFP for the civil and the labor. So does that come in now?
I would say you'd want to, if you're going to request RFPs, you're not going to appoint now.
Well, except we're for sure going to need an interim. So do we do it on an interim basis? Otherwise, after the 31st of January, we don't have one, right? Nobody knows?
You could do either one, I would say. It just, yeah, you don't have a lawyer until you pick somebody, but it's not like you need a lawyer every day of the week, unless something comes up, you can deal with it.
Okay, we're not firing anybody. We're just getting proposals,
Yeah.
searching out there. So, anyway,
Dave, I put that discussion under the mayor's report.
okay, but
RFPs.
where my hesitation is now we're appointing them, renewing it. So do we do that, or?
Well,
do
let
we
me
hold
clarify,
off?
Mayor. I, like most every position, serves until you fire me. So if you appoint me, that doesn't mean you're stuck with me for a year or a term of, you can fire me tomorrow.
Okay,
So.
So go ahead and
You
do
still could
it.
do it either way, but my point is if you pick me for now, you can fire me next week or whenever you see a better candidate.
okay,
That's the case with its engineer or any of the other positions.
okay, good. So we need a motion on that, appointment of legal services. So we got civil is Brad Person, labor is Johnson, Killian, and Seller, prosecuting is Crow Wing County, bond counsel is Taft Law, and bond advisor is David Drone. We need a motion for that.
So move.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Appointment of city engineer, no change in rates, will be Bolton and Mink. Need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Bolton and Mink as the City of Cross Lakes engineer for 2023.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Approve of official depositories, Franzen Bank 4M Fund.
I move to approve the official depositories of Franson and 4M.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Designate signatories of the city checking and savings account, mayor, acting mayor, city administrator, and city clerk. Need a motion.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Designate electronic fund transfer delegates, mayor, acting mayor, city administrator, city clerk. Motion?
So move.
I
Second.
second.
Go ahead.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Commission appointments. Bear with me for 1 second. Thanks, Jackson. I got a mess here.
Here and here.
So the first one is commission.
First one is this.
Yep, got it. Planning and zoning, Jerry Voles, reappointment to his second 3-year term. I spoke to Jerry, he agreed. Chris Graham, also appointment to first 3-year term. She completed Randy DeMoke's term that ends 1/31. Park and Rec, Chris Graham, appointment to second 3-year term. Public Works, Gordy Wagner, appointment to first term. Tim Berg on Public Works, appointment to first term. Economic Development, Patty Norgard. I got a little question on this first 6-year term. Why is that a 6-year term?
EDA is its own thing.
So if I want to make a change and make that a 3-year term?
I don't know. You would have to change their bylaws.
You could change the bylaws.
Pardon me?
You change the bylaws.
So do we not act on that right now and change them if the council so chooses, or?
I would suggest pulling out the bylaws and see what's in them.
Just hold off on that motion then?
Changing the terms?
Yeah.
Yes.
So go ahead and do the appointment.
If you want to direct me to pull out those bylaws and bring them to you next month, I can.
But so my question is do we act on this now, or do we
Yes.
just hold off? We make the appointments now.
That's a separate issue, Dave. To change that is a separate issue. We're just doing appointments right now.
Okay, so the Economic Development Authority is Patty Norgard and Carla Bainbridge, appointment as an alternate.
Do all the commissions have alternates? So is there a reason that we're appointing an alternate?
We usually want to have alternates. Unfortunately, at this time, we don't. We don't have enough people on our commissions.
But that's in the commission policies or whatever, that there's alternates? Okay, I just don't want to start something new.
So what is the makeup of the EDA? How many people are on it?
5.
5, and these are just new people, or Patty has been on there for a while, but this is her first term?
Correct. She was an alternate.
Alternate,
James Funk is done.
yep.
He finished his first term and moved.
So Carla's going to be an alternate? Yeah. So can we make a motion on those commissions and do the hockey committee separately, because that's a committee? I just soon do it that way. Let's have a motion to approve those commission appointments.
I approve these commission appointments.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any other question on that? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, next, we're forming a new hockey committee, and I'm just going to list the names of the people here. Jackson Purfirst is going to be on it, Peter Graves, Amy Wanabo, Heather Jones, Jess Eide, Kelly Thompson, Corey Nordby, Michael Connell, Priscilla Balmer, Scott Herrick, and Tom Swenson. Now, because it's a committee, do we need a motion to accept that?
Yes, they
Okay.
filled out applications to be on the committee.
Okay,
A committee and a commission is equal.
right.
Yes.
So move.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor.
Can I ask a clarification on that, Dave? I'm assuming you're appointing Jackson as representative from council.
For the hockey committee,
Yeah, for the hockey.
well, it's not officially on here, but,
Well, but
As
it's
a
still a
liaison?
committee, and you could.
yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I think that would be
Is that okay underneath the motion?
That's what you and I had talked about. yeah.
Okay. And then there's a thank you to Sandy Melberg for her service of 6 years on the Park and Rec Commission, and to James Funk for 4-year service of the EDA. I don't see either of them here, but. Now, commission liaison appointments. I recommend the following liaison assignments for 2023. Building and Grounds, Dave Nevin. Economic Development Authority, Sandy Farter and Marcia Voles. Park and Rec Library, Jackson Purfirst. Planning and Zoning Commission, Aaron Herzig. Public Safety, Marcia Siebert Voles, Aaron Herzig, and I am going to step off of that commission. Public Works, Dave Nevin. Emergency Management Director, Police Chief, and Fire Chief. And Cross Lakers, which is not really an official city functioning group, but Sandy Farter is going to be the liaison to that group. Do we have a motion for that?
So move.
I second.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
With respect to the Public Safety Commission, the appointments you made are inconsistent with our ordinance. I'm not sure how you want to address that.
Well, I think we have to change the ordinance. The ordinance states that the mayor and one council person will be on the commission. And so I'm going to make a motion that we change it just to read 2 council people will be on the commission.
I second.
Okay? Any discussion on that?
Take a vote first
All in favor?
of the first motion
Yeah, that we change it to 2 council members?
for the, I didn't get a vote on.
Oh, okay.
On what?
On the liaison appointment, or the hockey committee was the last
No,
one.
the liaisons.
Didn't we, first.
No, it was just discussion. I move that Jackson be assigned as liaison to that committee.
Oh,
That's what you're asking.
To the hockey committee. So you made a motion. Who seconded it?
Didn't Sandy second?
I'll second.
Sandy seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now we make a motion to change the committee makeup on the Public Safety Committee to include 2 council members.
And Sandy seconded that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Motion carries 4-1. Okay. Bear with me for a second, folks. I got to catch up here a little bit. Oh, there's my paperwork. Well, the next is the consent calendar. All items here are listed to be considered to be routine by the city council will be acted on by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a citizen or council member so requests. Has everybody had a chance to read them? Any questions on them? All in favor? Or, no, let's have a motion first, I guess.
So move.
I move
State your
to,
motion, Jackson. State your motion.
So move to approve everything on the consent calendar.
Okay, a second?
yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay. Mayor and council members report. Yeah. Can't keep up with this. Resolution accepting donations, but I got to read it. Okay, we got a resolution accepting donations. We have donations from Judith Nelson for $2,500 for the police department. A donation from the Pal Foundation for $479.20 for a television. Where does the television go? Does it matter?
It's placed in the meeting room. The art club actually donated the money to the Pal Foundation for their art club presentations.
Okay. Pal Foundation, $105, fourth quarter bridge club room rental. And we've got Mr. and Mrs. William Sharon, I hope I pronounced that right, $100 towards the fire department. And Harvey and Mardella Brodil, $100 towards the fire department. And the Cross Lake Fire Relief Association, $28.90 for freight cost of safety equipment. So we need a motion to approve those.
I move that these donations be accepted.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, Cindy, are you going to come up and bail me out here? Where is she? Feel like this is my first time up here.
So do I.
Oh, new faces. Welcome. My name is Cindy Mugato. I'm with the Cross Lake Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here this evening to visit with you about a proposed change to the St. Patrick's Day Parade route that will take place on Saturday, March 18th. TJ, can you make this work? So we have a couple changes here on the parade route. First of all, I want to talk about the parade route south. So this is at the town square area. Okay. Thank you. Traditionally, we have had the floats come in right here on the east side of Swan Drive, and they all come in and they stage along this road right here. Because of these townhomes, we're able to leave, we stack them 2 wide instead of 3 wide, so there's a lane open for emergency services for these townhomes. Traditionally, the parade starts right here at the corner where Larson Group Real Estate is, and it winds through Town Square in this direction, and then out to where the green line is, where the green line is the proposed parade route for this year, so nothing changes there. What we are going to change is the parade isn't going to wind around through the Town Square area. Last year, there's just too many people in there. The floats are much bigger, much more substantial, and the amount of people in the big floats and the big tires just don't mesh at all. So we're proposing to start the parade right here, which is more at the end of Osland Avenue, right here. 1 block west of Osland Avenue. Right by the water fountain that's right here. So that's where the parade will start, and then again, it will travel past the Whitefish Lodge and Suites and down Pioneer Drive on County Road 3 and up, or down, yeah, County Road 3 and up County Road 66. We are also changing the end of the parade route. We're not going to end the parade route at CNC Boatworks anymore, where we used to cut, some of the floats would cut through CNC Boatworks and wind back around to Town Square. Mr. Nelson would prefer that we not go through that parade. Through his property, he's built a fence, making it impassable for some of the larger floats. So we're proposing to add a half a mile to the parade route, so it will continue past CNC Boatworks and go all the way up to the Log Church, where the parade will then end. So the parade will continue up to the Log Church and end in the parking lot of the church. The floats are used to it. They can make a choice. They have been able to make a choice in the past to either go into CNC Boatworks or to continue straight. So these floats would have the same choice. They could continue straight up 66 and go, out of town on 16 or 1 or however they want to go, or they can go in the Log Church area and hold until the parade ends, and then they could come back, travel south. If their float won't make it around County Road 1, some of them won't, so they're going to have to hold in the church parking lot. The Log Church is very willing to accommodate all of this. I spoke to Pastor Troy today. And they're ready for it. In fact, they even offered to have the church open after the parade for some soup and restrooms for the parade participants. So that was very nice of them. So again, we're proposing to add a half a mile to the parade, making it 2 miles long, eliminate those sharp corners in the Town Square area. All of the floats are going to enter on the east side of Swan Drive this year. They're not going to come in from the west side of Swan Drive at all. So this is going to free up Swan Drive prior to the parade, Pioneer Drive prior to the parade, and this parking behind the Town Square area will all be freed up as well. And then frankly, adding a half a mile to the parade is going to disperse the crowd even further. There's another half a mile of parking available to people, and a lot more sidewalk to sit on to watch the parade. So we're hoping that that will maybe eliminate some of those hot crowded spots on the south end of the parade. We did attend the Public Safety Commission meeting last week, and they assured us that they can handle it. Police and fire would be able to handle the extra capacity of an additional half a mile. We plan to work well with Patrick Public Works. They're great about doing barricades and cones for us. And there is some additional plowing, that's necessary. We ask that they plow that overflow lot here at the, where am I pointing to? In the Whitefish area here. We'll ask to plow this property out. Mr. Anderson, who owns this property, has allowed us to use this. We're going to have a tent in here for some heated parade watching. And then we usually plow this area out here too. So I'll work with Patrick to, for the additional plowing. In the past years, we've plowed that property where Little Yukon is for extra parking. I don't know if that's necessary this year. If we have another half a mile of parade route where people can park in the log landing area, Chip has indicated they could park in the fire department parking lot. So there's just some added parking. So I don't know, we won't have to plow the exchange lot this year. That's private property again. So every year it changes a little bit and we just work with what we're dealt. So hopefully we'll be able to work with Public Works to make all that happen. We still plan to have the barricades. Last year we set up no overnight parking in front of the Andy's Corner here, and that worked really well. The businesses don't want to have their whole parking lot clogged up for 2 weeks before the parade, so we just post signs on the barricades that say no overnight parking, and then in the morning, well, 12:01, people come in and start parking their vehicles there, so we still will need the barricades so that they don't encroach right out onto the street. So I just need your approval to keep going on this route, and then with your approval, I will have to apply for a county road permit too, because we need to have their approval to block up their county roads.
Cindy, the only question, is it okay?
Yep, please.
The barricades in front of Andy's on the corner, last year we left them for that front row of parking so they couldn't park there.
Yeah.
And I think that worked out really well.
Yeah, we want to put them up.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's going to stay barricaded.
Yeah, we need to have them up, and that's what we stapled the no overnight
But
parking signs to.
not till 12:01. I mean, they will remain up.
Oh, well, the barricades will be there a week in advance, for sure, with signs on them that say no overnight parking. So they can't park overnight. So, but I'm saying, then parade day, they roll in the middle of the night and they park there. But still, they're not parked up to the curb because the barricades are there. Does that make sense?
Well, they really can't park in that first row, though. The barricades block that
Well, the
off.
barricades determine where they can begin parking. They will park their bumper right up to the barricade. So wherever we don't want them parking, we need to place the barricades
I would just
accordingly.
recommend to leave that front row open.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. So,
Yep, we'll work on that. So, that is all I have.
anything from police and fire that you want to add to it? You guys all good? All good?
Did you talk to the church? Because the church talked about the city plowing that lot and hauling snow.
I
think
did
that's a
talk
huge
to
burden.
Pastor Troy just this afternoon, in fact, and, they plow their parking lot. It's plowed today.
It is, okay.
Yeah, they're,
Yeah.
they have a plowing service. All we would suggest is maybe to clean it up a little. To make sure that those snow banks, if this, depending on what it looks like in March, it may not snow again at all. It might snow 14 feet from here till March. So, depending on what
your
happens
fault.
here.
It's your fault, Cindy.
Well, the snowmobilers will be happy. Depending on what happens, we just want to make sure that it's clean and passable for, big floats.
Just that that's open, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
fine with that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion?
To approve the amended parade route.
Approve the new parade route as
I'll
proposed. Okay, any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor.
So in the agenda, there's A, B, and C. Kara's here to speak with B. She is on the Clover Dash, the new route for the Clover Dash. But if I may, just skip to number C while I'm up here. The Brainerd Chamber, the Brainerd J.C.'s has a beer truck. And the guy that runs the beer truck is an employee of First Western Bank that's attached to Reed's Market. And last year, Friends and Bank had a hot dog and brat sale during the parade. And we love to have organizations have food on the parade route. You can't have enough food on this parade route, and if we can support local organizations, we love to do that. So we're thrilled that they're offering brats and hot dogs in the parking lot. And Andrew had the idea that he could bring up the Brainerd J.C.'s beer truck to complement that. So we would approve the Cross Lake Days, the St. Patrick's Day Committee would like to have them there as well. They would be serving canned beer, canned seltzer, and Bloody Marys and screwdrivers for sale out of the Brainerd J.C.'s truck, right next to the First Western Bank brat sale. So they complement each other. The proceeds of that beer truck sales will help the parade fund the Shriners that come to the parade. So it's a win-win situation. And then the Friends and Bank that sells the hot dogs and the brats, their proceeds go to the Cross Lake Fireworks and the food shelf. So all the money stays here locally. So they do need, and I think you have in your packet, a permit for the Brainerd J.C.'s to do that. To acquire a liquor license, they need your approval.
Are we going to get any pushback from the local establishments?
No,
Okay,
they're,
not stepping on any toes or anything?
It says on temporary, on sale, which to me means that it's on site and they can't wander. There has to be a.
correct, yep. They're opening the cans of beer and selling them singly. They're not selling six-packs to go.
I understand, but there's a fence.
Yep.
And an area that they have to stay within to drink it.
Good
That
luck
is-
with that.
I agree. That's why I'm wondering.
We would describe that to be Reed's parking lot. I mean, they're going to service those folks that are in that area.
Yeah, okay.
There will also be another, Massiere's Catering will be serving alcoholic beverages in the town square area.
We all have to remember it is St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Frankly, we get that comment often. There's just, the bars and restaurants do a great job parade weekend. Don't get me wrong, they do a fantastic job. But during the parade, when you're not likely to go into, one of the establishments to sit and have a beverage or a hamburger, it's nice to have that option on the street.
So we need a motion to approve.
I move that we approve application for a temporary liquor license.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
I want to introduce Kara Schaefer
Kara?
to you.
Yeah.
She has been organizing the Clover Dash 5K. This will be the 9th year.
Welcome, Kara.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. All right, I'm going to use this fancy contraption as well. Very impressed. Okay. So Kara Schaefer, me and my husband Henry, we own Karma Race Management, and we brought this event to Cross Lake, like Cindy said, 9 years ago as a partnership. And we are changing our route as well, just like the parade. So this is what we are proposing. So starting right at the corner of, let me just get my notes because I don't know all the, so the corner of this Oslin and Swan up here, we're going to have our runners, because of safety, we want runners always running on the left as much as possible against traffic. So running out to Paul Bunyan Scenic and going down to the corner of 3, coming around the corner by the chamber. This area right here, we've requested police presence or some kind of vehicle with lights, which we did get the approval of. So this will be a little tricky as they are going to be crossing over this 37, and then they're going to travel into this fun little neighborhood back here, the Wildwood neighborhood, I'm just calling it. So going up and around here, we got some fun little cul-de-sacs, in and out. Water stop will be up here. Come back around, another little cul-de-sac here. So the thought behind this is really we want this to be a family event, which it always has been. And so staying off of the really busy roads is really important. So that's why this neighborhood seems ideal, because we have a lot of strollers, a lot of dogs, so once they get to that area, they can really, it can be the family, run with your best friend, run with your kid, run with your dog or whatever. So that's why this little neighborhood is really ideal for that. So then coming back around, again, a little tricky there, but we'll have that same presence. And then going back up onto 3 and heading into Swan Drive, and then finishing right down in front of Rafferty's. So it kind of has a nice big loop.
How long does the run take from start to finish?
So the run will start at 9 a.m. The fastest runner, it's about 14 to 15 minutes. The walkers, which we do encourage with the family piece of it, I would say it takes about 50 minutes. For
How long is the dash?
Oh, sorry, it's a 5K, 3.1 miles. Yep.
So it's about an hour, probably.
Yep, and I am aware, working with Cindy, that they will start staging at 10 a.m. over on Swan Drive, so we will do a hard cutoff then, and we can just announce that, if you're gonna walk, you need to be done within an hour, which shouldn't be a problem. We don't usually have people going longer than that. So, yeah, we did meet with Public Safety, and they gave the blessing for it as well, but I would love to know what you guys think about it.
Well, I think County Road 3 up by the golf course is going to probably be the most dangerous part. That'll be the fastest driving,
Yep.
I would think. So I assume you're going to have plenty of signage, lights,
yes. And
events, signs.
I think in your packets, you guys might have gotten that, there was like a little, everyone else wants to see it, but this is where all the volunteers are gonna be. This is a quick sketch. All those X's are volunteers, if not 1 or 2 people, that will really help. And everyone will be wearing their yellow vests and making sure. The guys that we have do this are the Masons out of the Brainerd area, so they have been with us doing this as a volunteer. We give them a donation afterwards, and so they're very familiar with that. We organize the Brainerd Turkey Run, and that's what they do for that route as well. They're used to the runners. They know how to control the traffic, and so I feel really comfortable having them out on the course. Plus, usually people really like them because they like to cheer people on. They're goofy and they're cowbells and whatever. So,
No, I think it's a great event, great just presence just to slow people down and be safe.
okay.
Yeah. So do we have a motion to approve the new route?
I make a motion to approve the new route.
I second that motion.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor?
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you,
You
Kara.
guys should come out and join the race. Give you a coupon code.
Come on, Dave.
That's a challenge.
It doesn't mean that they're running like numbers or,
Oh, yeah, they all have bibs on, and then it's usually just like a large crowd of green going through. Yeah, and there is there's a lead biker that leads all the racers, and then there is a lead, or a truck usually that follows the last person as well, so. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara. All right, Peter, you're up. April Foolish Pickleball Tournament. How did it work out last year?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
We just wanted to let the council know that we're planning to host this again. And the Pickleball Association just wants to create an opportunity to raise some monies for our local charities. And so what we did last year, what we're planning to do again this year, is take all the entry fees that we get for the tournament, any sponsorships, any donations, any matching funds that come in, and turn that all around and donated that to the charities that will have 3 different divisions of skill level. And so each of those divisions will have a winning team, and they will have a charity that they're sponsoring. They won't know what charity it is until the day of the tournament, but if they win, that charity gets awarded whatever monies we've raised. So last year, we were able to raise a bit over $1,000 and total, and we were able to give checks of $350 to 3 winning charities. It was PAL, the Loon Center, and the Greater Lakes Area Foundation. And actually, the Greater Lakes Area Foundation at that same point was doing a matching fund drive for the food shelves. So our money actually got doubled.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah.
went to the food shelves. So
Awesome. What are the dates of it, Peter?
we want to try to get it on April Fool's Day.
Okay.
But since that is going to be a Friday, and it's our second annual event, we're looking at either the 1st or the 2nd depending on the weather. The plan is to host this outside on the outdoor courts, but with Cindy promising
Yeah, 14
somewhere
feet.
between 14 inches or feet more snow.
You can blame
we
it
may not
all
be
on
able to do
Cindy,
that.
that's all I say.
So we have a backup. We'll do it inside the community center gym if need be. We're going to have it limited to 12 teams, and we have 12 charities that we'll do. And the 3 charities that won last year are not going to be listed this year. We want to rotate it around
Good.
and make sure different charities have a chance to
Who
win.
determines which charity wins or which are the recipients?
Well, what we do is we have 12 charities that we'll have selected that are all have some kind of local connection to it, like our own food shelf area here. And then on the day of the tournament, each team pulls a charity out of a hat, and they're playing for that charity that day. So we can't guarantee who's going to be the winning charity or the winning group. But that's our plan. We just want to keep the council aware of what we're doing.
So you don't need any motions, that's just an update.
No motions
approval?
that I'm aware of. We are going to be talking to some of the businesses in the area and different groups and helping to raise those matching funds or donations so that hopefully, as long as I get $1 more than the money that we raised last year, I'm going to be happy. But again, the more money that we can raise, the more money that we're able to pass on to the.
What's the entry fee?
It's going to be $30 per person, or so $60 a team. So that way we can easily split it 3 ways then for the winning donations. And so a business can say we want to sponsor a team and come up with either sponsoring just one individual on the team or sponsoring $60 for the whole team.
Peter, thank you.
Questions? All right.
Thank you and good luck to you. Okay, number 4 is a recommendation to issue a request for proposals. I would like to ask them for both our city attorney and our labor attorney. And I would also like to ask for one for a cleaning service. So,
Or
cleaning the city buildings. Right now, we're currently paying them $60,000 a year, and I think it's a little excessive. So let's see where we can go with that. Or maybe it's 50 or 60, but anyway, it's a lot. So do I have a motion on that?
Okay, we have some discussion first.
Well, yeah,
please?
usually we do a motion, a second, and then discussion, but go ahead.
Okay, I guess I'm concerned. We did the city attorney a couple of years ago, and we didn't get one single bid to come in.
Then so be it.
So, well, but it's a lot of work for staff, but RFPs are not easy to put together. And the one on the labor attorney, if something goes wrong, and correct me, Pat, or Brad, please, if I'm wrong, if something goes wrong and we get hit with a lawsuit, we turn it into the League of Minnesota Cities, and they assign an attorney. So, and not all attorney companies are approved or accepted, whatever the correct term is, by League of Minnesota Cities. So I think the RFP would have to be very, very carefully written, and I'm not sure.
The League of Minnesota Cities has their own attorneys on staff. They don't approve attorneys you have. If they're going to take it on, they have attorneys on staff.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But kind of
I'm
what
just
I
saying.
hear you saying, Aaron, is that we're not able to change them.
We can change it, but we have to be careful, Dave, because.
Well, yeah, let's see what, maybe we won't get anything back.
That the league.
We're not
has to work
signing
with.
up for anything just by looking for proposals,
No.
right?
Well, we aren't going to need them much at all for the next 3 years anyway.
I'll make a motion that we request proposals for the cleaning service and for the labor attorney and civil attorney.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Who prepares the request? Who prepares those?
Typically, the
Staff.
city staff, the administrator, the clerk, or something.
And how do they go out? Paper, email, how do they find them? Like if Brad wanted it back, would Brad just have to go to some website, or how do they find it?
Where is it advertised?
Yes, where is it advertised?
Mike, do you have an answer for that?
We'd publish it in the paper, and we'd more likely than not publish it with the league. Everyone looks at the league for those types of things.
The what?
League of
The League
Minnesota
of
Oh,
Cities.
league, I thought you
Yeah.
said the leaf, I'm like, I don't know what the leaf is.
Yeah, I mean, we do it, we should do it every couple of years, so that's, see what we get back, maybe nothing. maybe
I'll second
something.
the motion.
Okay. Any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, motion carries 4-1.
Do we have dates when we want them back? Do we want to direct staff on advertising and when we want them back? The deadline for,
Deadline to get them back? Well, I don't know if we can, but yeah, go ahead. I mean, do you have a thought with it? No? I mean, a month,
By the next city council meeting?
but we should be able to get them out this week. Mike, is that possible?
What parameters would you like us to use?
you must have hours for cleaning each building that you're billing out now, or that are they supplying you information for the cleaning service?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so that you could pick up off of
Want
theirs.
just for clarification, because we have 4 buildings, we're clearing 3 or 4 buildings. We have the community center, the city hall, and public works, and police. Fire.
What do they clean at Public Works?
The interior of the building, the common areas.
Are you talking about the joint maintenance facility, or? Okay, so does the county pick up half that tab then?
A portion of it.
Wow.
49% of it,
Say,
or
what's a portion?
53.
53? Okay. What is the cleaning? Is it $4,300 a month? Is that an hourly rate, or is that just a flat rate we pay them? It seems like it's always the same. The clean team or whoever it is? Flat rate, okay. Seems to be a little reservation and
How much is it a month for all the buildings?
4,300, I was gonna
It is
look, it's in
43?
here.
Oh, okay.
Every month it's in the bills to pay, but it's around $4,500 a month. So it's $55,000 a year. So the parameters of cleaning, the same as what we have now, the description of what they're doing now. And then we can take a look at that, beyond that, for the cleaning. The parameters of where you're marketing or advertising, Mike, is that what that question was?
No, I just wanted to know what your requirements are for it. And the same goes for the labor and civil attorney also.
Well, wouldn't you automatically do it to a comparable firm? I mean,
Do you have select firms you want us to go to, or do you want us to do a blind?
no, blind is wide, as wide reaching as you can. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so did we vote on that, or is that a motion and a second? Is that voted on?
We voted.
Voted on, okay. Next is discussion on VRBOs. VRBOs keep coming up, the county. Apparently, we can still, I don't know, is that a contract with the county or just? Peter, did you look into that? The county, or is that we contract with the county to do it?
SSDS?
The VRBOs, or,
Oh, the VRBO, they have not cut that out of their ordinance yet. So they're going to extend an option to cities to contract with the county. But they're not, I think it's going to come out in their February meeting is what they're planning.
okay, so that letter to me kind of said that cities don't have to go with the county, they'll release them from it.
Correct.
If the city chooses to do it on their own. I have not been impressed in the last year of what the county has done with VRBOs. There's a lot of people that say there's not a problem with them. But I would like to make a motion to advertise to get somebody in here that could manage VRBOs. And I don't know how that description is going to be either, but find somebody who is good with it.
Can you be more specific about what you mean by manage? Like what?
Well, if the city were to license vacation rentals in town, you know, the simple math on the thing is I think there's about 250 of them. 50 of them for sure would go away, so there's 200. If we did $500 a year to be $100,000 the city could raise, that would pay for somebody to manage, staff it. Now, if it's going to be, you know, we've got staffing issues here at City Hall that we got to look at all around. But I think if we could just advertise out and look and see what we get back from somebody saying, I can do it, this is what I propose, this is how much it'll be. Mike, do you have any idea how to do that or what to ask for?
That's really up to what you're looking to manage with that. When you're looking at a VRBO, if you're looking at staffing it, you're probably looking at someone that would be there over the weekend, making available on the weekends when they're full. The other thing is, I'm sure Chip would have some input on the safety inspections. Who would do that? How would they be done? What standard would they follow?
Right.
Those are things that you'd need to consider. You could also consider requiring VRBOs to be professionally managed. That takes care of a lot of the issues you're looking at. You could pass an ordinance to do that. Or you could see contract directly with the county, which is yet to come in February. They're defining that process.
So Mike, are you saying that each VRB owner would have to show that they are being professionally managed?
And you would set the parameters on if there was a complaint, who would they call? How long is the response time? What are the ramifications of that? Those items would need to be defined.
Dave, did we have a VRBO
We had a
committee at one time?
Yeah. Probably had a couple of them.
Do we remember who was on that?
Well, we could find it. Yeah, it was a list.
I wonder if we form that committee again, let them come up with some ideas.
Well, my thought is to just reach out and see if we could get somebody to come forward and say, I know what I'm doing, this is what I can do, this is what you need. Here's a plan, here's a program.
There's no harm in looking.
Well, that's what I think. We're not signing anything.
Right.
We're just looking.
You're talking about a contract service?
Yeah,
Not
Contracting it out.
staff, contract.
yeah. So,
One thought, I mean, you can get a contractor, some committee or the council itself would need to create an ordinance so they know what to enforce before you actually hire the person. You could get bids, but they're not gonna know how to regulate anything unless you pass some rules for them. That you can't delegate
Well,
that,
we've
that has to be
gotta-
passed by the council.
we have got some models of different cities that have done
But
rules.
some committee
so-
or the council has to pick one of them. There's many examples out there.
Chip, would you be willing to organize enough to put something together to implement? I know, he's kind of burned out of this. He's been chasing his tail around after this thing for a long
Aren't we
time.
kind of rushing it? We don't even, the county said if they take care of it, they're going to have fees to cover whatever costs they are, so it won't cost us anything.
As Mr. Person said, we need to find some type of policy, or not policy, but ordinances that you're going to follow before you can determine how you're going to manage it and how you're going to, charge people, or you
After you
can,
pass an ordinance,
Yeah.
but I think it's definitely a policy decision which set of rules you want. That's gotta be done by the council.
Yeah,
are
right.
they going to register? Are they going to, you going to charge them for it? Do you have to be inspected for life safety or parking or sewer? All that stuff's got to be listed in that. So
And don't you have a couple models of
I've
that?
sent them to the council
Yeah, I
many,
know.
many times.
I mean, we're all burnt out of it.
Yeah.
Well, the county's willing to contract and it won't cost the city of Cross Lake anything. I don't know.
Who would inspect the life safety if you follow any of that, though?
Right. I
I'm
mean,
saying if the county's licensing it, then they're going to be responsible. They have their own ordinance that they would follow.
But Marcia, the county has been licensing it for a year, and how many do you know are registered in Cross Lake? 30?
I don't even think there's that many.
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing any enforcement, they're not doing anything.
How are you going to find them?
That's where the person would come in. that you-
Yeah, the person would come in, we could do, I think I mentioned this before, a TIN program. Turn in your neighbor. But we can get, some way that we can get people to give them a little protection if they're living next to one of them.
I can come up, I mean, I'll revisit.
I know
that.
you're burned out of it. I
am,
get it.
I am. I can revisit the ones that I thought were very close to our type of town.
If you could bring a model in front of us or give it to me and I'll bring it
I'll
in front
email them
of
to
them.
you way before so you can read them and have time to look at them.
Okay, so
Okay.
let's bring this up again next month.
Okay.
Thanks, Chip. Anybody else have anything to say about VRBOs? I've got a couple additional things here that I want to ask the council for. One of them is just to give me permission to go look into some, we've talked about entry-level housing or some kind of housing for people to come up here and work in town and do whatever, and I've got some ideas. I don't have enough to share anything. But I would just like somebody to make a motion and say, Dave, go ahead and look into it and come back to us with your thoughts in a month or something.
I'll follow that motion, or I'll entertain that motion that you can go out and do some
I'm not
exploring.
signing anything, I'm not committing to anything, I just want to come back with some kind of thoughts that have,
Are you going to be, he made a motion, I'm sorry.
okay.
That's
So
what we second.
is there a second?
I second that motion.
Okay,
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, I do
yeah,
right now.
Yeah, okay.
conversation on that?
My concern is that we don't, lost my train of thought in the process of the motion. But are you going to look at, are there organizations that provide funding to do what you're kind of talking about?
Probably won't look at that, no. It's just look at a conceptual thing and come back and see if there's any appetite to pursue it.
Okay.
You have certain locations
Okay.
in mind, or just,
Well, I think I understand what you're trying to do, and I'm in favor of it, but I want to see some kind of funding so the city doesn't end up.
I won't come back with that,
Yeah.
but that'll be something that we can look into if it looks like something that'll
I
work.
do have one question for you on that. I know the EDA is working on that, and that's always been a topic with them. Are you duplicating their efforts, or is this something in addition or new that they haven't?
It's something new, it's not duplicating their efforts. No. So there's a motion and a second. I'm going to abstain, but all in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I'll be back. Next thing I have here is I would like to regenerate the Personnel Committee. The last council did not approve of the Personnel Committee for whatever reason. I think the union attorneys, a lot of people don't like dealing with the whole council. I think if the whole council, whenever we get together, it's got to be a public, open meeting. Two council can get together and it doesn't. So I would like to reestablish the Personnel Committee, and I'd like to put Marcia and myself on it.
Can you explain exactly what the function of the Personnel Committee would be?
Well, any kind of issues, if there's a staffing issue or a conversation, the Personnel Committee would look at it, then we'd come back to the council with a recommendation. There's no action taken on them.
Rather than dealing with it,
Well,
council.
it's just you could initially do it privately. It wouldn't have to be in a public meeting.
Is it just you and Marcia? Is there somebody representing from the
That,
staff?
that's not quite
That's not
correct.
correct.
Okay, go ahead, Mike, yeah.
All commission meetings have to be duly posted, and all of them are public.
All commission, so the Personnel Committee has always been a public meeting?
Yes. And it's always been open.
And I think you need to look at a different perspective on who's on that, Dave. Okay, I think you need to take a whole new look at that if you want to bring it back, because it was set up with two council members, one city administrator, and the city administrator got steamrolled. Okay, and I think you need to, if you want to bring it back, I can support it if it gets changed, David. If you don't change it, I will not support it. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Okay, anybody else have any input on it?
Well, I was just going to say, Mike, aren't there some exceptions to that public aspect?
No.
Because in my manual that I got, it's about 500 pages.
That away, Sandy.
No, it said that there were some exceptions regarding privacy or,
There are certain exceptions, and only the governing, and correct me if I misspeak, Brad, only the governing board can close a public meeting, and the personnel committee or any committee is not considered a governing board, so by default, they have to be open. And so that's kind of where the rub came with, here about a year or so ago, or however long it was closed, it was disbanded. And so the council can close a meeting, and they do that periodically for negotiations or litigation, labor strategy, things like that, and things that are required to be closed, contract negotiations, those kinds of things. But for the most part, government is conducted in the open, in public eye.
I'll have to
What is it,
try to find that, I'll look it up.
what is it that I've heard that we've gone through several different union negotiations, and when we decided that the whole council was going to be the negotiating body, they said it's hard to deal with the whole council. I mean, is that not true?
It depends on the council. I mean, that is the truth. A lot of times the committees, nobody pays attention to the committee meetings when they're published. You say, well, we're going to have our meetings on this date periodically. The meetings are posted and they're open to the public.
Okay,
And we've
so
already been down that path.
The union's fine with working with the whole council as we have it now?
They may or may not be. I
Oh,
can't speak for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, Marcia, can you help me with that? Is there anything you can recall?
What, on whether they got to be open or not, or?
No, on the number of people composing. I thought it was, they didn't like the number of
We
people.
could try to, it might help, especially Sandy asked too, and she wasn't here last time, but Marcia brought it up to refresh everyone's memory, whenever that was, a year or 2 years ago. And we sent out quite a few memos on when it had to be closed, who could close the meeting. He speaks to the governing body. We had a bunch of memos about that. Staff could find those again and get those to the whole council.
Yeah.
And you could maybe, after you look at all that, meet again and talk about what you want to do.
Okay.
They did say, and I had asked the League of Minnesota Cities about it, and they said, get your opinion of your city attorney, if it was two councilmen.
Right, there were
That were
several
on the
memos, and
committee, and-
I could circulate to the whole council again.
And I guess if there's really a concern about it, that we could contact the Department of Administration, the commissioner, and find out if that would have to be, if you would have to comply under the open meeting law, if there's only two councilmen on there.
Sure.
Well, so
I think that might settle everything, and it's a clear-cut answer, because the League of Minnesota Cities would say if it's advisory, and you're not making any decisions, you're bringing it back as a recommendation, that wasn't, that you did not have to comply with open meeting law. I think it might be a good thing to contact the Department of Administration and the commissioner and find out exactly if two members on the council could be on a committee, and if they would have to comply with the open meeting law, since they're strictly advisory.
So let's all take a pause on it for a month and look into a little bit and come back in February, huh?
So are you going to contact the commissioner?
You're gonna?
I think we already have, but the point is, if you all agree with that, I'll get you some memos on this topic again, and maybe I'll add to what I did before, but we had a couple of memos on this back a year or two.
Yeah, I think if we had a clear-cut decision from the commissioner, that would end all the back and forth, is it or is it not?
Okay, well, I'll withdraw the motion. Did I make a motion? I'll withdraw it if I did. And we'll just put it on pause for a month and come back and talk about it. Okay, next thing I would like to discuss is leaving this council desk as is and putting a floor underneath it so we can put regular chairs on it. I know that we authorized redoing it all, but it hasn't been done. And I don't see any need in doing that. Come on, Patrick,
It's
jump.
been ordered, but, you know, we're just trying to get a date lined up on it.
Can I ask what the purpose is for redoing it?
So that-
I'm one of the complainants. I've got a bad back.
Well, these
Marcia's
chairs
got a
are
bad
terrible.
back, and we sit up on these stools and they just kill me. I'm in pain right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but they are, but
And they also, with the new design, you can look over to see everyone, because it's more of a U shape, so you can see each other instead of trying to look around the mayor and everything else.
I'm already seeing the back and forth,
Yeah.
the rock and roll.
Have the costs already been allocated, or?
Was it $6,000 or something like
that
that?
was $6,000.
Yes.
So what they're gonna do is tear this out, they're gonna put a little bit of a curve to it, and they're gonna drop it down to desk height. I don't like it because I can't see the people in the back row, and I like to see people. And that really is the only reason I don't like it, so,
You mean the proposed change?
yeah. So if the change that we talked about, or I thought about, is just raising this floor so that we could use a regular chair.
I thought we didn't do that initially because of ADA, well, that was Ted. ADA? Wasn't that the reason?
That's correct.
Is this ADA compliant, what we have, that's 2 years old?
Couldn't get a wheelchair. Somebody in a wheelchair isn't gonna be able to.
see over the counter if they're
Right.
on a wheelchair.
Exactly.
It's probably not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not ADA compliant now.
I mean, it
But
just.
I thought we didn't raise the floor because of that reason.
Well, that might have been what somebody said, but, you know, if somebody is on the council on a wheelchair or temporarily disabled, we've got desks on both sides that they could sit at. But the point of it is that this is not wheelchair accessible the way we're sitting, so
Wouldn't a raised floor be cheaper in the long run instead of totally redoing this whole brand-new desk?
Well, of course it would.
This whole thing right here.
Right, I don't think that's necessary.
So this is good discussion.
Problem is, the council already approved it, the prior council.
We
already
didn't pay our
approved it.
bill, we can always send the material back.
Well, can we?
Was it custom?
Yeah, it's custom. I don't know if he's made it yet or not.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, it's kind of a moot point if it's already been completed, but, you know.
Well, it hasn't been, though.
I agree with Dave, it's nice to be able to see,
Right.
you know, the people in the back. But I understand that, you know, it's not maybe,
No doubt.
And I'll tell you right now, this one here cannot have a ramp to it because this door right here has to open. That's our computer system, okay?
So it can't go beyond that.
So this one here, so somebody stepping off and going down or,
we're gonna spend $6,000 to tear this thing all apart, and I'm not gonna be happy sitting down at ground level with everybody and not being able to see who's in the back of this thing.
Agreed.
Why don't you check and see if they've started it, and if they haven't,
Or see if they could elevate it.
stop it.
and put a
Well, the
floor
way
in.
the design was, if I remember right, your deal was be the only one that'd be elevated, because otherwise, we could probably do the two sides too.
Well, I guess if you just elevated me, that'd be fine. They don't care. As long as I stay here.
they're calling it king.
I don't mind the change, I don't mind that. I think it's kind of foolish after a year and a half or so, we're tearing the place apart and redoing it. A simple fix would be to raise the floor and get more comfortable chairs. But I guess, Patrick, if you would look into it,
I'll
if they haven't,
I'll check into it tomorrow. and
put the saw
See
to
if
it
he's got it built yet or what's going on with it.
and at worst case, if he could elevate it, if he does have it started.
Okay, I'll check tomorrow.
But I mean, because, it's going to impact the two sides, it's going to impact the whole thing. So,
So if you can't elevate it, stop the order or what?
well, if we could stop the order, I mean, that depends how the
we need to make
motion
a
would
mo-
go.
we need to
Yeah,
make a
make a
motion.
motion to pursue it, yeah.
If he hasn't started making the desk, I'd like to make a motion to stop that order and focus more on raising the floor.
And if I could add to that motion to get 5 a little more comfortable chairs up here.
Will receive.
I second the motion.
All right, is there any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
All in favor, motion carries 4-1. Okay, another one is to, Patrick, you're a electrician, right?
Yes, I am.
Could I get a motion from this council to put a light on the north side of our city hall entrance sign?
Why is there not a light now? Just curious.
I don't have a clue.
Because they, for some reason, they built it to be one-sided because they didn't think
Okay.
they had enough letters to cover the other side.
I'll make a motion that we have Patrick light up the sign on the other side as soon as possible.
I second that.
We'll get her done, a nice warm day.
Next
You make sure you
Friday.
got that as soon as possible on that motion, Char. I mean, it's just ridiculous that we got a one-lit sided sign, but we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Along with that, I'd like to add that he trims the trees around it so we can see. it.
Yeah, right. There's one pine tree that's,
I'm in favor. Aye.
all right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We did an agreement with Ted Strand last year for 1 year to pay him in the event we needed to call him for questions or whatever. Now that is over now. So as of the first of the year, that's done. So there'll be no more checks going out to him. Okay, does anybody else have anything?
Can I make a motion right now?
Sure.
I would like to entertain a motion to have the EDA committee come to the next city council meeting with a report on what they do, businesses that they helped, and what their goals are for 2023.
If that's a motion, I second it.
Okay, so that's a motion and a second. Does the EDA typically give us updates? Patty, you're here, yeah. Well, let's finish this motion and then you can come up and, okay, so let's just make that a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. All right, come on up and, she's got paper in hand.
I've got your agenda in hand.
Okay.
Patty Norgard, Bunkhouse Road, Cross Lake resident. Yes, we do provide updates, and when we have a meeting, you will find that there are very thorough notes in your council packet.
Yep.
We have a great recorder. And actually, on this coming Wednesday, we're going to hold our strategic planning meeting for 2023. We had a great meeting with Dave Nevin on Friday, talking about what we wanted to accomplish. And so these meetings are acknowledged, and so any one of the council is invited to come and participate and listen in on the meetings.
So they are advertised as an open, I mean, so the whole council could go?
You can have, okay, open meeting law, go ahead.
You can all attend, but only 2 of you could speak.
Yes.
And there are 2 members of the
How are
EDA.
we going to do that, Jackson?
We'll work it out.
Yes, and as I reminded Dave on this past Friday, you know, why is the EDA important? And Marcia has had experience in this. And we are an EDA authority with lots of responsibility if we choose to take it. And if we lose that authority, if we decide we don't want to do that, it's taken away by the state, and it's very difficult to get it back. So up to this point, when EDA was organized, it was to help fund, was it the clinic? I can't remember, the clinic. And so in the meantime, we have been a second lender for many of our businesses in Cross Lake, which we don't really advertise that somebody came and got us a loan. Then when the Bladick United Fund was established, All of our funds went into the Brainerd Lakes Economic Development Commission. And since then, we also have had businesses who have received loans through us. And so that's why it's important to keep the EDA in place, because in the event that we needed to find some extra capital for a special project or something, the EDA has that authority. So that's kind of just a snapshot of why it is important to keep EDA authority alive and well in Cross Lake.
So Patty, to follow up on what Jackson requested, is
Yeah.
just come up 7 minutes, what are we doing?
Absolutely, we
right?
can.
Is that what you're
Absolutely, we
doing?
can.
Yeah, yes, and just business examples.
And it doesn't have to be every month.
Oh, no. This is a challenge. No, and for.
You meet quarterly? You
Yes,
meet
we're
4
going to
times
meet,
a year?
you're going to meet quarterly. And that does not mean that there isn't going to be things accomplished in that period of time. But we recognize that time is precious for people, and so we don't have 10,000 things on our agenda like you do.
Yeah,
We
so-
have probably 3 or 4, so.
Certainly, whenever you feel like there's something to tell us,
Yes.
please come and tell us.
Yes, and in February, hopefully, we'll be unveiling our new EDA website. I think we're going to have our final meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock over at Tremolo Communications, so. And
Awesome.
it's really pretty, it's really pretty. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I have another one.
So did you make a motion there,
I
or
did.
did we follow it through?
I think Sandy seconded it,
So let's vote on it.
or Aaron did, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor.
I would like to make one more too.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion, or entertain a motion that we have a closed city council meeting for Sandy and I, including the current council, city staff, department heads, anybody who works for the city, to literally have a whole day to discuss some animosity and go over grievances. Or not maybe even a whole day, but I think that needs to be gone over so we can try to get off the ground with a fresh start.
You mean a meeting or a workshop?
If you say workshop, it has to be public. So I'm saying a closed city council meeting. I just think it'd be very beneficial for Sandy and I to get caught up to speed on what's going on.
I agree with what he's asking about, but can we close it? That was my question.
You have to have there's only certain reasons you can close a meeting, so we could work on what that would be. If I got maybe a better feel on what a particular personnel matter potentially could be, but it would have to be on not the issue at large. It would have to be about a certain personnel issue that happened with a certain person, not like the last 2 years of our history.
Specific issue.
Yeah, I could look into it more, but I mean, there are pretty strong rules about closing meetings. We have to be.
It would be towards personnel. That's what it would be about.
If it's about how we handle personnel generically, that's clearly an open meeting. That's what I'm trying to say. It'd have to be more specific. We could work on that and try to come up with a way to get it closed if that's the goal of the council, but we would have to work on a better strategy of how we would word the motion.
Perhaps maybe you could work together to try to discover, some way to do that.
I support.
Shoot me an email or call me and we'll talk about it more.
Okay, I just think it needs to be done.
But I support the concept that what you're trying to accomplish.
I can tell by the facial expressions, everybody wants it. It's just, can we do it legally?
How do we get
I
there?
don't know if I'm in for the whole day thing.
Well, fine.
I think it would take the whole day.
I'm not.
Okay, so we're going to,
Can I just say one more thing? I would just want things said in confidence to where the public isn't going to be recording and heckling and.
Give me a call and we'll see if there's a way we
Okay.
can word it the way that we can accomplish.
Okay,
so are we going to just let that motion die?
let's make it.
I'm hearing consensus that I'm supposed to help him craft a motion for the next time we meet as a council, because we need to have that on the record when we set the meeting. And I don't think we're prepared to do that right now. So I think we'll talk and hopefully have a crafted motion for the next time you guys meet.
Okay, so we don't have to vote on that motion.
I heard a consensus that if
Yeah.
you all want me to try to figure out a way to do that, so let's see if we can figure it out.
No one seconded it, so there was no second.
Well, Jaron supported it, but that's fine. We'll just let it die.
Failed for lack of second.
Not the same as a second.
Anybody else have anything?
Failed for lack of second.
Anybody else? Okay, Mike, you can take it over.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Back in August, Councilmember Aaron asked the question, where are we at with our phone company money? How have we spent it? What's left? What does it look like? So for council's information, remember back in 2016, we completed the sale of Cross Lake Communications, which has now changed its names to the new communications company we heard of earlier. And so what we're looking at is how much money did we get? And where did we spend it? And how much is left? Because there seems to be this concept that, well, we've got this pile of money we can just do whatever with, and we don't have to think about how we're spending. So one of the reasons we enjoy such a favorable bond rating is because we do have a good cash balance, and it is managed well. So what's before you is my estimate of where those funds are at today. And the interest rate used was the rate at which they're invested in the 4M fund in our cash pool. So a couple things. One is, this is kind of your rainy day fund. It's not your safety net, where you can say, well, I missed something, I need to dip into my savings account. So I've had questions on it. What's the balance? What should we do with it? How can we spend it? How did we spend it? And if we were to go back and figure out what that balance was, what about would it be today? And the direction back in August was to bring forth to this body what that estimated cash balance would be. So that's what it is. It's we started out at 5.7 million. What I've done is I've calculated some interest that those funds would have earned had we had them outside of our cash pool in the same fund. And then over the last year, you can see, we were at 0.1% for interest to start the year. We ended the year at 3.964%, and that's because the Fed had 5 rate increases during the year. So we can leave it in our pool and I can continue to track it like this, or we can separate it in a separate cash account within that same pool. Either way we can do.
So right now, Mike, we're earning close to 4% interest on that money if invested correctly.
And it is, yes.
And it is, okay.
That was the monthly rate at the end of December.
I would like to see those funds kind of segregated and put into an account for M.
I agree. I think we should put it in fund balances, reserved undesignated.
Yeah, and put it in.
And
so
that'll
that
be
it's-
on the balance sheet. Every month you'll see it there. We don't have to ask for, and then at the end of the year, the interest rate be put into that fund balance.
And I think I'm grateful to see this, and I say thank you. And do you need a motion so we continue?
I just made a motion that we should put
Marcia just made a motion to
she
separate
did.
it
I'm
into its
sorry.
own
it in,
account. 4M.
I'll second.
undesignated reserve fund balance,
We'll come up with the right name for it.
Okay, I second it.
Okay.
not assigned balance, an undesignated reserve.
But this is good news to see where we're actually at, that we actually have those funds left. And it went basically for the fire department, some for this, and then some for the sewer clarifiers, if I remember.
That's correct.
Okay.
So that'll be noted on the balance sheet next month.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Let's vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor.
All right, the second item is the 2023 licensed refuse haulers in Cross Lake. So last month, the council approved the 2023 refuse haulers for the city of Cross Lake. Many calls have come into City Hall regarding trash removal and recycling, and people are surprised to learn that our licensed haulers are required to provide recycling services. What we'd like to do is we'd like to publish the attached notification in the official newspapers for public information, and we'd like your permission to do that. not even take it one step further, we'd post this on our website also.
So moved to give permission to post in the paper and website.
I second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the third item on here is talks about the lovely glass we have on the counters. When that was installed, it was basically a barricade so people wouldn't sneeze on us during the pandemic. The idea behind having some of that was to have some security for staff while in City Hall. Many of you have been to Crow Wing County in their offices at Land Services where they have, you know, the glass window between the public and the staff. That seems to work well. So what we've got is a quote to install permanent glass in the administrative and planning zoning counters. This is one item that staff had requested before the new City Hall was even built, was security at the counter. The windows currently at the counter are difficult to see through and hear through. Because they're hanging from small chains, there's minimal protection to staff. There are many times only one person is in the office, and this would be one more layer of protection. The Public Safety Commission reviewed this request at their 1/4/2023 meeting, made a motion to recommend that the City Council approve the installation of permanent glass at the administration and planning and zoning counters. Pat, you can talk a little bit about this quote and what the costs are on that?
They're $4,000 each to get them, to have them all fully installed. I recommend we need to do that and get rid of the plastic and that, just to give some security to everyone. Plus, they got a deal you can speak through, so you're not, you know, if you're a little hard of hearing on the outside, you can't hear the person inside.
That's similar to what's up at Crow Wing Cooperative also?
Yes, yep.
Real similar. That seems to work well for them too.
In today's society, with everything that's going on across the nation, I fully believe we need to do this. I think this is a basic request from staff.
I was a no-go for, but from hearing from some incidences that have happened, and yeah, I think it needs to sadly be done in today's world. So I agree with you, Aaron.
Yeah, it seems expensive, but if anything were to happen, we would so regret the fact that we hadn't taken these steps. I think it's important.
Then I make a motion that we input these items in place.
I second that motion.
Okay, discussion. Are you going to do all three windows?
Yes. Well, if you could do it too, you should do them all and just be,
All three of them are always open.
yeah.
The one at that end?
Yes.
I've never seen it open. Okay.
Well, it's open.
Yeah, it's
I see it closed too.
Okay.
I suppose you see it's closed more often because it faces the road? I mean, seems like it's road closed, but.
Yeah. I've never seen it open when I've come in and picked up stuff.
Open every day.
It's open every day.
Okay, so it's $12,000. Did we budget for that? Where's the money coming for that?
We have money in our building fund. We also received our rebate check from Gordian and Sourcewell for the construction of this building.
How much?
That was included in, I think, our September or October report. It was about $46,000.
I didn't see the October one. I should maybe get
Yeah,
that
I
packet
don't
from
know
you.
that, but-
It's in the car.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I get it.
Opposed? Motion
I'm
carries.
opposed.
You're opposed, okay, 4-1. Motion carries 4-1. Okay,
All right, item 4 is a recommendation from me, and I recommend Patrick Wayner be removed from his probationary status retroactive to January 1st of this year. Pat's job performance has met expectations, and his knowledge of the field is an asset to the department. I have no areas of concern in his work, and will recommend that he be placed on regular full-time status immediately.
And that will include a salary increase.
Yes.
I move we approve that change.
I second that.
And what is the change? One step or something, Mike? What is that?
No, he will enjoy the same increase that the rest of the folks in the MNP union received from last year.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor.
All right, the next item is one item we've had a lot of discussion on. We've also put some money in the budget for, to start the process to figure out what our fire department management or administrative structure should look like and how we pay people. Right now, we're receiving a lot of benefit from Chief Lohmiller, just because that's the kind of guy he is, and he's not actually getting paid for everything he does for us. So that's a different issue. But what I'd like to do is get some direction from the council. What would you like to see? How would you like us to proceed with this? This was a budget item. It was something we wanted to look at during the budget. Some of the ideas that have popped up since then is, I know about 18-20% of Chief Lohmiller's time is spent doing paperwork for filing fire reports, and we're not paying him for it, all of it anyways. Do we want to consider changing his stipend? Do we want to consider some other arrangement? What would you folks like to see? What
That was an
direction
awful
would you like
nice
to go?
report you did, Chip, for the year end. I was going to mention that earlier.
I was surprised to see the number of hours, Chip, that you put in doing clerical work. We pay you for 1,020 hours, and you basically put in 20% of your time taking care of paperwork and dealing with attorneys on fires and stuff. That's huge. That's a huge amount of the commitment that we pay you for at that point. So I feel something has to change.
Chip, would you prefer to allocate all of that paperwork to someone else? Or would you prefer just to have your status changed and just include that paperwork into your position? Must have been a good question.
When you say someone else, what do you mean by that?
Well, to hire like maybe an assistant or someone to take over,
Somebody in the fire service?
not necessarily.
I
I
don't,
mean, what would be your preference? I mean, you're the one who's,
well, it all depends on how this all goes in the future. Like, I'm not gonna be here forever. So the people that take my place, obviously there's a succession planning and they've been working through it, but there'd be a lot of learning curve training, for example, like Eric Lee talks about with the police side, if there was somebody as an administrative assistant. Be the same thing as fire, but it's a lot of paperwork. You've seen it all. I prefer to do it myself because then I know it's done right now.
Would it help, though, if you had an assistant do that paperwork? Would that alleviate a lot of hours off your plate and
Again,
time?
Are you talking an assistant from the fire service?
Just somebody we hire.
I have some officers that do a little bit of the work, but I mean,
so you can train someone that's currently on staff to,
they're all trained to do it. They just don't have time to do it.
So we'd essentially have to hire somebody else to do it if we wanted to go that route and train them in, is what you're saying.
You're wasting your time hiring somebody else to do a 20-hour a
It'd
week.
take him the same amount of time to tell
Take me,
him what
it
happened.
takes me 20 minutes, it'll take them about an hour to do what I do.
Right.
So, anyway.
So, Chip, we looked at compensation, and I still don't know where you're at, and I don't know if this is the place to talk about it or
Don't know where
whatever.
we're at either, so.
Yeah.
No, the purpose of my comments was to get council direction on what you'd like to see.
Well, I think we need to acknowledge that he does do a good service, and he puts in a lot of time for the city. I don't know how to do it
No
further.
doubt, no doubt.
I think they're saying compensation.
Okay.
At the,
What I'm
at the
hearing.
last meeting, weren't you going to establish a committee for the structure of the fire department?
That's a different committee. And yes, but no, not for this I wasn't. No.
What what are you going to discuss on the structure of the fire department? What's that committee for then? I thought it was
I would have to have Chip explain that committee, but let's do this first. Can we do that?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, first of all, we gotta, we gotta know where the starting point
Yeah.
is, and
I
I
think-
don't know where that is.
I think we need more
And I
information. We
don't
can't
either.
just
You
pull it out
asked
of
me for
there.
a dollar figure, and I really couldn't give you an effective dollar figure.
I think staff should probably shop, quote-unquote shop, see what some comparable rates are of Nisswa, Pequot, Brainerd, compare salaries.
But they're full-time, so you're not going to be able to do a fair,
Well, isn't that what we're talking about in the packet? It says full-time
Yeah.
fire chief.
Jackson, there, we run, how many calls did we run this year?
500 or something, or is that hours?
593
Those
calls.
calls.
We're second in the county. The only other full-time staff is Brainerd has a full-time staff, a chief and a deputy chief, Mr. Marshall. They ran 630 calls this year. Nisswa, I think will run around, I think they ran 510, which is everybody's up. Garrison's just under 300. Those are the bigger departments. They have admin assistants, things like that. What you guys are trying to figure out right now is, originally, I was getting $1,200, is that right? 1,200?
Correct.
$1,200 to do the normal admin stuff, considering we were running 200 to 300 calls a year. I'm running nearly 600 calls, twice as many, twice as much work.
And the
That's what we're
1,200
talking about
I
here.
understand that.
is the 1,200 a month?
A month.
A month, yeah.
So that's entering data, doing the inference reports, making sure everything's legal, answering phone calls for insurance, writing the reports, answering whatever it has to be.
So now we
that's
gotta
what you're
come
talking
up
about
with,
there.
with a monthly,
That's up to you guys. That's
Yeah.
not my.
okay.
Well, I don't think we should just do this tonight. I think we need some information on exactly where we are and
What
hours.
information, Marcia?
Well, I'd like to know, actually, you say 1,200 a month. Is that accurate? Because I've seen some of the wages, and I don't know if you're dividing it out for the COVID protocol stuff that you were doing or whatever, but for us just to pick a number tonight, I don't feel comfortable with that, but next month, and I still don't understand what the committee is for the structure of the fire department.
when we're done here, then we get to it, please. Because we jump around too much and we don't get things done.
Well, I would like to table this until February and then get the information of
How do we,
their sounding.
what group, though, talks about it and decides who it is? See, that's, folks, that's what's hard for us, is we can't get into candid conversations without doing it publicly, which technically you should be able to do but I'd like to crawl into the weeds a little bit, and it's kind of too bad we can't do it.
Would it help if I worked with the clerk on hours and came to the Public Safety Committee with the recommendation they could support and bring that to
Maybe
the
that'd be a
council?
good way to look at it, yeah, something.
Okay.
We kind of know where the baseline is, we know that things have increased substantially.
Well, when we look at Chip's pay, Chief Lohmiller's pay, there's a stipend for being the chief and doing all the things that you would require a chief to do. What I'm seeing is a lot more hours. You know, I've been in the office here with you on Saturday night signing grants to send people all over the country for different things. He's done a ton of work we've done together looking for reimbursements for FEMA. In fact, we just completed one today. We've got 2 more in the hopper that are getting close to finalized for funding, reimbursement for things that he's gotten us into, helpful in a good way. So we can come back and do that.
Yeah, we're just,
But the other
at
side
least,
of
I'll
it-
speak for myself, I'm in a real cloud. I really don't have a clue, and I'd like to know a little bit about where we're at.
Yep. And the
And I
other
don't.
thing, part of his pay is, Marcia, you had mentioned the COVID stuff. That's pretty much tapered off. there's really nothing there. But the other things that the fire chief is paid for is leading the training effort individually and as groups for staff, for his own staff and for our staff, and then responding to calls and the monthly training he does with his staff. Right now, with the number of staff they have and the number of calls they go on, they're getting taxed. I mean, I can see that with them. So that's one of the things we want to look at, with what does the fire department look at, and how do we do it?
When you say they're taxed because of the, volume of work that they're being required to do now, so are we addressing not only his pay, but maybe additional help, or?
He's been trying to hire for how many?
Yeah, he's always trying to
Yeah.
hire.
Yeah, he's been trying to.
And we have given the responders a bump. I mean, we've acknowledged some activity in the last year. But we need to know where that is, if it's enough, are they okay with it? Is it, I mean.
And that used to be an annual.
We're kind of, I'm in the dark, other than I hear you say once in a while that it's this. I don't know what that is, though. I mean, initially, when you say that, it's pretty light, but is there anything else? Is there something, I don't know.
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Well, I'm just saying that I'd like a little more clarity on what the whole thing is.
What whole thing? I don't understand what you're asking.
Well, the whole department, I'd really, the training portion of it, and how much are we using the facility? I mean, just the big broad picture of what the department's doing. Yeah, and I don't really need to want to ask you that right now, but I would.
That would take a long time to answer that question.
Yeah, no, it would, but.
So that's a whole different thing. I know what you're trying to get with the committee. I want to go sit down.
Yeah.
So this committee that you formed last month was to look at the fire department model. Is it working for the community at this time? You guys wanted to get a community together, and you're going to be on it with a bunch of firefighters and the state fire marshal, Mr. Herzog, Min Fire and Min Hire, and you're going to get together and say, is this the model that works good for our community with this many calls? Or should it look in a different direction, along with possible being this fire marshal, which also does VRBOs?
So
inspections.
that's where I
That's the
was going,
committee.
was that.
Yes. Yes,
that
that's your committee.
The committee,
Yeah,
yeah. So that
so-
would that full-time fire chief would be a part of that, right? I
That would be in
mean,
that discussion. Is it
Would
worth
be
having
in
a
that.
full-time chief? Is it worth doing duty crews? Is it worth, what is the right model for our city with the amount of calls that we have?
okay. And that was what I thought it was.
Yeah, that's what we actually talked about in the public
Yeah.
safety.
And that's the committee she would like to be on.
Yes,
Am I
that's the
correct,
one that
Marcia?
you're on.
Oh, I'm on
Yes,
it.
correct, yes.
So Chip, could that model, potentially include, dealing with the issue of VRBOs?
Yes. We've talked about that in the past many times, and.
But just not to get too deep into it, Chip, if it was where we had fire inspections, I mean, that would be whether the city pay you a salary to do that, or a rate, or
It's
a
a
per.
salary. It's a salary.
But is it a per inspection rate?
It's all up however you want to organize
Right.
it, but normally you have a fire chief and a fire marshal or a fire inspector, and they do those type of things. But if you're doing VRBO, life and safety inspections, they can do a little bit more like the sewer or whatever it might be. I know Detroit Lakes is hiring a full-time chief to do that position. Elk River has the same thing. Waconia, Victoria, everybody has that, where they split between planning and zoning or inspections and the fire service. And basically for the fire department, it's not to be able to run calls all day, it's to do the paperwork. And like I said, if I wasn't here in the situation I'm in, and the job that I hold right now, outside of being a fire chief, if I wasn't able to do all this, it's a lot of time. Saturdays, Sundays, you gotta remember, we're on call 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. And if any of you'd like to have a pager, I'll give you one, and you'll see how many times we get called on Christmas or at night. And it's just, it
Yeah.
takes a lot of time. So, but I know I'd like to thank Mrs. Farter for coming in and getting educated on the fire department the other day. So anybody wants to come in, I got, a 2-hour presentation? So you'll understand everything.
2 hours individually?
So,
I'll fill you in later.
yeah, there you go.
No,
So,
it was really interesting.
Marcia, I would like to get that committee organized. When can we meet?
Yes.
Oh, you want a date?
Well,
now?
I'm just saying, can we do it soon? I'll coordinate everybody and send you out some optional
Yeah.
dates and get together.
Yeah, and we have been working on a date. You and I have discussed that. But we don't have it set yet.
No, we have not.
Yeah.
So I'll send out some optional dates, Marcia, and you say yes or no on the dates that work best for you?
Sure.
Okay,
Where are you gonna meet at the fire hall, probably? I mean,
wherever you want.
yeah.
Fire hall.
And again, I'm going to make this clear. This position, talking about fire chief, is not for me. This is for somebody else that is going to take my place in the future, or I wouldn't mind being an assistant chief or whatever. But it's not, I'm trying to create a position, so when I do leave, that place doesn't fall apart. Okay? Just to make that clear, documented, on the record.
Got it. Is
Okay,
that a motion? Okay. TJ, I guess it's your turn. That's all you had, Mike?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I kind of have a rough cough, so bear with me here as I go through this. If you're not aware, our Polaris Ranger that we use for our ski trail, our walking trail, and our sledding hill for grooming and maintenance in the summer has suffered a blown transmission. That was a few weeks back. I did talk to Mike, and we talked about a few options that I've detailed in this packet here that I gave to you. But before doing any repairs, I thought I would talk to this body, because it is over $6,000 repair. Like I mentioned here, there are three options. One option I left off because upon further research and talking to other municipalities that groom and mechanics, it was evident that we never really had the right machine for the job. Gull Lake Drifters, they used the Polaris for their grooming services, and they actually blew 2 transmissions before transferring to a Kubota. So that's not where I want to be at, and come to you in 2 years and tell you that we blew another transmission. I did talk to a mechanic, the mechanic that we brought it to, and simply put, this machine is just not right for pulling a grooming drag going up and down hills with 16 plus inches of snow with tracks on a unit. So regardless, I think there's a consensus that even if we do sell the Polaris, we should get it fixed before we do so, or if you guys would elect to keep it, we should still obviously fix it so it's usable. There is a little hiccup in the whole system. We have a lot of snow out there that needs to be groomed. This is not the most optimal time that our unit is down. I have been in talks with the Ideal Snow Pros. I was told that they will talk to their board tomorrow, but they did tell me that they're going through their own mechanical issues, and they are behind too with the snowstorm that we had a few weeks back and clearing trees, and they have grant aid trails that they have to take care of first priority. So to get this fixed, regardless if we keep it or sell it, we're looking at 2 to 3 week lead time until we wrap that up. Like I said, I am talking to Ideal Snow Pros to see if possibly they can get out there in between that 3 week period to see if we can get at least a section groomed for us, so at least a little bit of our trail is usable along with our sledding hill. The question I have for you is what should we do with the Ranger? I don't feel comfortable running a machine that isn't right for the job. The Kubota has recently come out with a UTV that is hydrostatic, and that is what Gull Lake Drifters have transitioned to. They do like it. It's more powerful. It's a better machine for the job to pull that much weight. That would be my recommendation, to go with an equipment piece like that. But then we have to look at numbers and.
Let me talk for a bit, TJ.
Sure.
I talked to TJ earlier today, so I got a little background in this. I think in order to sell, is it a track machine all the time, or do you take the tracks off and put tires on it in the summer?
The Kubota?
No, the Ranger.
Oh, the Ranger we do use year-round.
But I mean, has it always got tracks on it?
Tires in the summer,
Okay,
tracks
so
in
you
the
switch
winter.
them. Is the Kubota a track machine all the time?
Nope, comes with wheels, and it's a tracked vehicle in the winter. So it's kind of the same operation. We use it for park maintenance in the summer, around the park weed whipping, maintaining our park and trails, and then in the winter we slap the tracks on. And in the winter, That's the sole purpose, is a grooming machine for our
Right,
sledding
but-
hill and trails. Yep.
You've got the track cost at $6,000, $6,700?
Mm-hmm.
And yours is 3, so they're half worn or something, you're discounting because they're wore.
That's what I would sell the tracks,
Okay.
yeah. That's what I try to get for those tracks.
So I think what, and he told me it'd be about a 2-week turnaround on repair time.
2 to 3 weeks, yep.
So I think what he's got to do is get it repaired. It's got to be repaired to sell it, or you're going to get junk price for it. So I think we got to repair it. And be very gentle with it, get through the season with it. And then I think you got to get a new one, but the Kubota, I'd want to make sure that it is the machine for that. And if you get it for grooming, because that's a big part of what you do, you might have to leave that machine kind of designated for grooming and not run around in it in the summer. I don't know what you guys do, and I don't know how hard it is, but
We try to keep it within the confines of the park. And the Gator's more of versatile throughout the city with our other park systems, so we
Right.
do try to keep it there as much as we can.
But you guys run that a lot, it's in service, what'd you tell me, 300 hours?
It's tough, the average, the first year that they did use it, they didn't use it in the summer because it was just purchased for grooming because there was only one maintenance staff. We had more staff with seasonal, we're running it a little bit more. The average over the 4-year span is 207.
207?
207.
It's not very many hours.
The miles, average miles per year is 1,500.
Yeah.
So when it is used, it's used quite a bit.
But I mean, he's got to have that kind of machine if we're going to have trails, and trails are a pretty important part of the park, I believe.
Yeah, my phone is ringing off the hook right now.
So right now, he's got a 2 to 3 week lead time, and if you said if we told you to get the new Kubota right now and sell the other one later, you can't even get one, right?
Probably May.
Yeah. Well, but you still.
Like he said, get it fixed.
Get it fixed. And treat it very gently to get it through the season.
Yep. And we can run it
So you think,
just on snowstorms instead of just on condition too, just to get us by through the
well, I mean,
winter.
you've run it for 4 years now, and so it's done pretty well. I don't think you should tear another one out in a couple of months.
Yeah, I wouldn't hope.
And you think the difference is gonna be to upgrade to the new machine is gonna be 16 grand?
If everything goes right with selling it at 18 and 3. I can't say for sure, but I did check the market and that's pretty much where it's
Right.
at. But I will say, when I talked to some associates from Gully Drifters, they are really satisfied with the machine. It is the drawback to the Kubota, it's a slower vehicle, but the strength is it's a more powerful unit that is designed to pull more weight.
Yeah, well, I think you got enough miles of trails that you gotta have the right machine doing it. So I'd make a motion just to tell TJ to fix the Ranger, get it back into service, treat it carefully, and then look into the new Kubota.
Do you want me to come back maybe next month with more of a firm quote
Yeah.
for the Kubota?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we do use it quite a bit in the summer, and I'm hoping to get it right around our prime season there in the park. So if it's okay with the council, I'd like to bring it back next month to get something positive.
So what we're authorizing you, the motion is today to go ahead and get it fixed.
Get it fixed and use it for the remainder
And
of the
then
grooming season.
come back next month with more details or specs on, who's gonna fix it? Not the same person that you would buy the Kubota from,
No.
right?
No.
Yeah.
It's the Power Sports company in town here. Platinum
Okay,
Power
I'm just
Sports.
wondering if they would write you up a deal to trade in or something, but just so you come back with something pretty concrete if you ordered it. Okay, so that's a motion to tell them to go ahead and get the thing fixed and use it and come back next month with
Dave,
a little better breakdown.
second your motion to have it repaired.
Okay. Any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed?
And just one more thing, it might be a motion, it might not be, but there's a 2 to 3 week time window that we're not going to be able to groom, obviously. Like I said, the Ideal Snow Pros, they meet tomorrow. Would the council be okay if they could possibly get over there, having them maybe do the trail once or twice, and then we'd get billed for gas or...
How many hours does it take you to do the trail?
With our small machine, if we ran the whole trail, which I don't think they would have time to do, but if we ran the whole trail, 7 to 8 hours.
8
Just-
hours.
Yeah.
So they're gonna charge you $150 an hour or something, probably.
Well, like I said, at the very least, I'd like to get a portion open up, so if we work out a deal for 4 to
I
5
think
hours.
it'd be a shame to lose this season with nice snow.
Absolutely.
We don't get them very often, so.
So I don't know if that needs to be a motion or just a consensus to.
Yeah. We'll make a note of that. So is that a motion, or do you just go ahead and see if you can get them to fix it? No, but I mean to groom, to get them.
Fine.
Okay,
I'm good with it.
okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, TJ. All right, where are we?
Public forum?
Public forum, action may or may not be taken on any issue raised. If council requires more information or time for consideration, the issue will be placed on the next agenda. You know the deal. Does anybody have anything? Mr. Lindner?
Mark Linder, Pine Drive, Cross Lake. I listened to the VRBO talk you had, and I don't think you're aware, but 2 days ago, it was announced that Crow Wing County has changed their VRBO rules, and now since any city in the Crow Wing County that has their own planning and zoning department is now responsible for doing their own VRBO. It was just published Saturday. If they don't want to do it themselves, you can contract, but you're going to have to pay the county to do it.
Right.
So, I didn't know if
Yep.
you knew that.
No, that's, we all got that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know if you knew it because it didn't get brought up.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else have anything? Adam, you look like you got something right on the end of your tongue. Okay. City Attorney? Oh, you got something, Jerry? Come on.
Okay, Jerry Volz, Moan Beach Trail. A little while ago, they were talking about COVID. The city, they had COVID in here. We had a planning and zoning. I sat right here, and the city staff told me that there was no protocol for city administration office. So why are we still worried about COVID if we are? I sat right here.
Okay, well.
And they told me that.
I can answer part of that. I don't know that we're as worried about COVID as we were. So you're saying there was somebody in there with COVID and nobody told you or anything, or?
At the meeting, Dave. Mark was at the meeting.
Yeah.
And they never told me,
Yeah, I don't quite understand that either, why it wouldn't go out, but.
We don't need a protocol for the city administration office. Why do we have to bother with it?
All right, I can't answer that. Anybody want to try?
No?
Point taken. Thanks, Jerry. All right, anybody else got anything for public forum? Okay, we're going to close public forum. City Attorney report. Nothing? New business? Nothing? Old business? All right, Jackson, here is the most important motion of the night.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all for